years ago I was pampered. Now I'm just
Pampered.
Now I'm just a rude. Cool. Is this good?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Cool.
I guess, yeah.
Alright.
No, he's a great MC.
This is embarrassing. Sorry.
It's okay.
Michael's really eye-fucking me right now, knowing you're doing this wrong. There you go.
All right. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So when I was 14, I was a freshman in high school, and I had started doing that thing where you date boys for 3 weeks and hold hands and then maybe make out once, and it's terrible. And then you're just really good friends afterwards. And freshman year was great because I was mistaken for a sophomore on a regular basis. And we also actually had some new kids, and one of the new kids in our grade was Tim. And Tim had grown up around New York, and he seemed kind of brooding and had lots of like dark secrets. And his parents had had a divorce, and apparently his younger brother was mentally retarded, as he said. And so Tim liked me, so of course we started dating for 3 weeks. And he was really, really intense and had like a lot of bad things happen in his life. And he told me in secret once that he actually had a gun in his room as well. And it was because, he had lived in New York, and that was a normal thing. So Tim was a little too intense for me. So we broke up after 3 weeks and making out once, which was terrible. And but I stayed friends with him because that's what you did. And Tim just was so needy for emotional support. And as his ex-girlfriend, I had to fill that role. And at the time, we talked online all the time on AOL Instant Messenger. Some of you might remember it. And so it was like intense conversations after school. And when I went to school, this was in the spring. This was like in March. And when I went to school, I found out that all the friends that we had in common, really, they're like, what you've said to Tim is just horrible. And I was like, what are you talking about? And they're like, well, he's been going through so much, and you dumped him, and you've just been awful to him and mean. And I'm like, that's not true at all. And they're like, whatever, Skylar. And they basically stopped talking to me. And so like there's this group of people, and they weren't quite like drama people, but they didn't really fit in any other category, but they might have fit in there if they actually liked plays, and they stopped being friends with me. And and so Tim ended up injuring his ankle, and I was still talking to him because I was like, well, if I'm just nice to him, maybe things will get better and he'll tell the truth about it. He hurt his ankle, and it turned out that they had discovered that he had cancer. He had melanoma, and it had already spread to his lungs, and he had about 6 months to live. But he kept coming to school regularly and doing his homework, and my mom was like, well, we have a friend, Stephanie, who has had melanoma, and that seems really quick, but okay, like, this poor kid. And my friend Peter's like, well, I gotta hand it to him. Like, if I had cancer and 6 months to live, I would not be showing up at school and doing homework. I would not be there. And so we were all really sad. Becca was a friend of ours. Her mother had died of cancer the year before. She was devastated that she'd lose another person. And so we were just waiting and supporting Tim. And the next month, I had an accident where I passed out, and that's sort of a long story. And I broke some teeth and smashed up my face and got excused out of homework for a while. And he said, well, when I was doing physical therapy for my ankle, I too passed out because of the cancer in my lungs and hit my head, and I had an accident too. And I was like, there's something about all this in my 14-year-old brain that was like, this doesn't make sense. The physics of the accident don't make sense. None of this makes sense. And I go and talk to my mom more about it, and I talk to Becca and our friend Brian, and we're all like, there's something wrong with all of this. There's something not quite right. And whether or not Tim actually has cancer, or if he's maybe lying about it, we're concerned. So we went to the guidance counselor and told the guidance counselor. Guidance counselor talked to his parents, and Tim did not have cancer. He lied about all of it. But the guidance counselor told him that I was the one that came forward. So then Tim told everyone that I had a restraining order on him because of this whole incident. Summer came along. I went sailing. I came back midsummer, and my friend Chloe's like, well, did you hear who Tim's dating now? And I was like, who? And, well, Tim's dating Neil. Neil was my ex-boyfriend from 8th grade who was a ballet dancer and a figure skater and who was definitely gay. Tim had figured out that Neil had a crush on him and started dating him. And Given that Tim tended to lie about things, it was interesting how he was always grounded and couldn't hang out with Neil alone, and they could only be with friends. And when sophomore year rolled around, he broke up with Tim, joined the men's soccer team, and no one ever thought he was gay again. It was just this weird summer thing. But all of my male friends and half the grade decided, well, Skylar's ex-boyfriends dated each other. She must turn guys gay. So that was my reputation for the rest of high school. So, which is probably why when I was 17, I dated a 22-year-old, because high school boys thought I would turn them gay. So what I did walk away from with all that, though, is that no matter how much kindness you put into a bad relationship with a person, sometimes it doesn't get better. You should just walk away. And also, I am now actually engaged to someone who survived cancer. Thank you. Bye.